Hello and welcome to PSALive.tv. My name is Omar Kandili and we are live from the Tournament of Champions 2008. Just getting ready for the final. As you can see from these satellite pictures, we're in New York City on the east side of the United States of America. Some shots from the city I took earlier today. The hustle and bustle of the Big Apple. Where we are at Grand Central Terminal. The busiest train station in the world. At the Roundabout Hall, where the glass court is the showpiece of New York City. Getting ready for this final between Ramy Ashour of Egypt, world number 2, and James Willstrop of England, world number 6. Well, here's a shot from inside the arena. You can see the people here just getting the tin ready. We just had a Women's Cup final in which Natalie Granger beat Shelley Kitchen 3-2. And we're just waiting for the introduction of the players onto court. In the meantime now, I'm going to take you to an interview I done with James Willstrop earlier today about this match here tonight. Okay, I'm here with James Willstrop. Hello James, thanks for joining me here on PSA Live. Congratulations on winning the English Open last month in December in Sheffield, not too far away from Pontefract.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, great end to the year for us, especially winning the teams and then managing to win that English Open, which was a tough event. So yeah, I was very pleased with that. It was a big win, and that's what I'm aiming to do, try and win the tournament. So I was very happy.
So you're through now to the Tournament of Champions 2008 final. Of course, you beat Greg Galtier yesterday. Greg was suffering a bit there with his hand. A bit fortunate, really, to get Greg in that condition in the semi-final.
Yeah, well, it is fortunate, obviously, for me. I mean, because I'm, through without, being too tired from that match. So, that's just the way squash goes. We have all these things happen. So I was pleased to win, and I'm just very pleased to be in the final tonight.
So one of the biggest finals you've ever been in here, the Tournament of Champions. You play Ramy Ashour. Of course, you played Ramy last year in the quarterfinals. People have been saying that was the match of the tournament. Can we expect such a good match again this year?
Well, I mean, I don't really care as long as I win. But, it was great last year. It was one of those matches that I kind of will remember because it was, I lost, but I considered it to be a pretty special match in the terms of the way that we both played, and I think it was generally recognised as being a very good match. Obviously if we can both produce that again, then that's going to be great for the tournament. I think that's in our minds. We just want to win the match, and this is an important occasion for us both. So I think the excitement's really big now. We're getting very excited about playing tonight. It's probably the best arena in the world that you can play in, to be in Grand Central Terminal in front of a packed audience who are shouting and screaming. So we're just thoroughly looking forward to it, really, and hopefully we can both produce a really good brand of squash which can help the game, but more importantly, I've got to win.
Well, I'm sure Pontefract will be watching tonight. Best of luck, James, in this final.
Cheers, and thank you.
Okay, so we heard from James there. Unfortunately, though, I was unable to catch up with Ramy Ashour. He didn't come to the venue this morning for a practice, so unfortunately I don't have an interview with Ramy, so we just have to let Ramy's play do all the talking here, as we just heard a 1-minute warning from the MC, so I think play will be getting underway very shortly. Okay, well, James Willstrop is just pacing around in front of us, just getting ready for this match. I'm delighted to say I'm going to be joined by Will Carlin and Jonathan Kemp on this match as the match gets underway. As you can see from this shot here, we have a packed crowd in at the Grand Central Terminal. The crowds have been great here all week. Everybody really waiting anticipation for this final between Ramy Ashour, James Willstrop. Okay, I think we're getting underway right now.
We're calling the players for the championship match of our 2008 Bear Stearns Tournament of Champions. Please welcome them. First, from England, James Willstrop. His opponent from Egypt, our tournament number 1 seed, Ramy Ashour. It seemed inevitable that James Willstrop would make his presence felt on the PSA Tour, not only because of his size and strength, but coached by the highly regarded coach Malcolm Willstrop, his father. James enjoyed a headline junior career, winning British national and open titles at all age groups, plus the World Junior Championship. In December 2005, after reaching a career-high world number 2 on the PSA computer, James led England to victory for the first time in 8 years in the World Team Championships, and he was a key figure in England's recapturing of that title just last month in India. James defeated qualifier John Rooney of Ireland in our first round, Mohamed Iskandar of Malaysia in the second round, Stuart Boswell of Australia in the quarterfinal, and Francis Gregory Golche in last night's semifinal to earn this championship match opportunity. Ramy Ashour defeated young New Yorker Chris Gordon in the first round, fellow Egyptian Omar El Borlassi in the second round, Egyptian teammate Wael El Hindi in a 5-game quarterfinal, and David Palmer of Australia in last night's semifinal, another great match. Ramy stunned the squash world in August 2004 when he became the youngest ever world junior champion at the age of 16. 3 months later, in his maiden appearance in the PSA Tour, he won the Athens Open becoming one of only a handful of players who won a PSA title in their tour debut. And he won the World Junior crown again before moving on to the PSA Tour full-time. Ramy Ashour is truly the sport's hot property. After making his debut in the PSA rankings, the teenager burst into the top 100. By November 1st, 2006, he was in the top 10. By June last year, the super talented youngster had rocketed to number 2, a phenomenal rise. The officials for this championship match: the left wall referee, John Massarella; the right wall referee, Wayne Smith; and the center referee, whose voice you'll hear throughout the match, our tournament chief referee, Mike Riley.
Half time.
Okay, well, as the referee calls half time, let's go through some statistics there. You see Ramy Ashour from Egypt, 6'2", 20 years of age, currently world number 2, been 15 months in the top 10. Currently at his highest ranking, joined PSA just a few years ago in November 2004, played 31 tournaments, reached 10 PSA finals, of which he's won 5. James Willstrop of England, 6'5", 24 years of age, currently world number 6, 37 months in the top 10. Highest ranking of 2 in December 2005. Joined PSA September 1999, played 70 tournaments, reached 12 PSA finals, of which he's won 8. If we look at those tournaments these players have been entering over the past year, you can see Ramy Ashour's last 10 events. What an impressive record here, reaching the final of the Canadian Classic, beating David Palmer. The final of Dayton Open, beating John White. The final of Kuwait and Qatar. In the space of 2 weeks, beating world number 1 Amr Shabana and David Palmer. And then reaching the final of the Saudi International, playing Shabana in what was a whoever wins becomes world number 1 match. Just losing out to Shabana there. Of course, Ramy Ashour going out early in the Qatar Classic due to injury, and he's been out since the World Open and Hong Kong Open. So it's great to see Ramy back here at this event, the number 1 seed. James Willstrop's last 10 events, he's been doing pretty well on English soil. You can see winning the Canary Wharf Classic, beating John White in that final back in March. Winning the English Grand Prix, beating Thierry Linku. Just losing out to Nick Matthew down the road in Times Square at the US Open. But then winning the English Open last month, beating Nick Matthew. Also reaching quarter-final stages in Qatar, the British Open, Saudi, Qatar, and the World Open in Bermuda. Okay, well, if we look at the head-to-head records between these two players, ignore the first one. The first one's when Ramy had a walkover over James Willstrop at the World Open in Egypt. James, of course, came down with a bad case of food poisoning, had to pull out of that tournament.
Ladies and gentlemen, just before we begin this match this evening,
so let's not count that one. But they met last year at the Toronto Champions here. Ramy beat James in that quarter-final match, 3-1. That, in fact, was the biggest selling match ever on PSA Live. Spectacular match, that one. And then they met just a few months later at the Qatar Classic. That was the event postponed from 2006, played in April, where Ramy beat James 3-love.
And Mason, I will ask you to present the first check to Pat Kosker and his student from Street Squash on behalf of Bear Stearns and the Tournament of Champions. Thank you for your help. Thank you, Pat. Mason, here's another one to City Squash, to Tim Wyant, founder and executive director of City Squash, and one of his marvelous students on a pathway to success. Thank you all very much.
Okay, well, a small interlude there as John Nimick presents some checks to some of the local squash organisations here. Okay, in the meantime, let's just quickly look and see how Ramy Ashour's done at this tournament. Just played here once, which was last year, losing to Shabana in that semi-final.
Between James Willstrop of England to serve, Ramy Ashour of Egypt to receive.
See, Willstrop's had a good number of years here at Tournament of Champions, reaching only ever quarter-final stages, so reaching this final is fantastic for James. Okay, we're about to get underway. Let me introduce our commentary team here. Will Carling and Jonathan Kemp. Thanks, guys, for joining us here on PSA Live.
Hi, everybody. This is Will Carlin. Happy to be here with Jonathan Kemp, and we're going to be talking about the match. Jonathan, you've played both these guys this year. Tell me a little bit about each of their styles.
Starting with James. James is both very attacking players. Yeah, they're both very attacking players. We're looking to take the ball to the front of the court and play attacking squash, really. I mean, Ramy's obviously the sort of, well, I can't really call him up and coming anymore, but he's still only a young guy. Probably got the fastest hands that I've ever seen in squash.
So would you make Ramy the favorite in this match?
Yeah, I mean, Ramy's obviously been. I mean, you see there, that's an amazing shot. I mean, I think he's on his day, probably the best player in the world. So yeah, I think you've got to put him as the slight favourite. Although the James has been playing well this tournament, so I think it will be a close match.
Do you think the fact that James was able to get out in 3 games last night against Gaultier, who I think may have been nursing a little bit of an injury, will that help him be able to sustain his play through the match tonight?
Yeah, I think that will definitely help a lot, because I mean, if you have a few hard matches, can just take that little bit of the edge off you. You know, take a bit out of the legs, and can definitely against a player like Ramy make a lot of difference, because you're gonna have to work pretty hard to beat him.
Well, these guys have started off not by feeling each other out, but by shooting both of them right away. And James is up 3-2 in the first game.
Down. And out 3-all.
If you were James, would you look to try and force the issue, or try and make sure that he's playing defensively at the beginning?
Well, I mean, I think it doesn't. It wouldn't suit James to try and contain Ramy, so to speak. I think he's just going to play his game and take him on, really. I think if he worries too much about trying to stop Ramy playing his game, then he's not going to be able to play his own game, and I think that'll work into Ramy's advantage. It's another great shot.
When he hits that forehand drop shot, it's amazing how frequently he gets the ball to really roll out, not just nick, but actually roll out.
Yeah, I think almost every rally's ended with a nick so far, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Which just shows the quality of these players.
Pace is very fast at the start of this match. Does that work in either of their advantage, or you think it's okay for both of them to feel it out?
Well, I mean, the points are going fairly quickly, so I think physically at the moment it's not going to be too much of an issue. I think that they're both such good shot players that we're not going to get long grinding rallies. It's just going to be opportunity will come out and the ball will go in the net, pretty much.
One of the things that is interesting about these two guys is that they're both tall. James is, I think, almost 6'3" or 6'4", and Ramy is 6'1", and they both move unbelievably well despite being tall, which used to be a disadvantage, but these days the players seem to be coping with it well.
Well, I know that James has done a lot of hard work on his movement. So I think in his early days as a professional, it was a problem for him because 6'4", it's a long way to keep getting down, and so he's worked really hard to get into the shape that he is. I don't know so much about Ramy, but I imagine it's probably a similar thing. Although I think maybe he's probably naturally a little bit more athletic.
He also has the springy legs of youth, and he is young. And James is a bit older, not that much older. But you're right, James has been working at it very hard.
I think the height can also be an advantage though as well. I know from playing James, to get the ball past him is quite tough because he can just reach everything, especially on the volley. So it's hard work for him at the front of the court. But if you're trying to play him through the middle, it's very difficult.
I think the ball on this one looks like it almost just squibbed out a little bit when he hit it. He tried to hit a boast and it came off very oddly. So we're all even, 6-all in the first game. This is shaping up to be the match that many people are hoping it will be. Quality of play has been very high. I think most of the points so far have been won on winners rather than errors.
I think this is warming up nicely to potentially be a bit of a classic. I think this could be one of the best finals they've had here for a while.
Well, as Omar said in his introduction, the match that they played here last year was the highest selling match ever on PSA Live, and it's considered to be one of the best matches played certainly in New York and perhaps in the United States by pros in the last few years. That's why tonight has been sold out ever since yesterday was confirmed. People have been trying to get tickets even though the finals was sold out for quite a while, and the stands are overflowing tonight. And it's this kind of retrieval that people came to see.
This is a great rally. This is the longest one of the match so far, and at a crucial time as well. 6-all in the first.
And now it's 7-6.
Do either one of them see a point like that as an advantage in terms of getting the other guy tired, or is it too early for that to be a big factor?
I think they'll be starting to think about those sort of things now. You're always trying to, take that bit out of your opponent's legs, and if you get them on the end of a rally, you try and lengthen it out a bit more. That's another amazing kill there.
8-6.
You just can't afford to leave him loose around the middle.
Down.
So James just try to force it a little bit there now.
9-6.
I think that rally at 6-all could prove to be the turning point of this game.
We just saw a close-up of James there, and he was taking a pretty deep breath just before the start of this point.
Well, playing Ramy, because of his racket head speed that he generates, you can't ever really settle because he can hit the ball anywhere at any time. So you feel like you have to work so much harder. So even though maybe it doesn't look like James has done that much more work, he's probably having to work just a little bit harder than possibly Ramy is. That's another great shot. Ramy's just stepped it up a little bit now, just stepped up the pace and
10-6, game ball.
6-all to 10-6, and right as you mentioned, after that long point, he's run 4 points in a row off.
That's a great shot.
And out.
It's good to see James maintaining his positive attitude, though, despite being down game point. It's not going to let Ramy just have it.
I think that's the thing with Ramy. I'm not sure you can tire him out because you've got to keep the ball so tight. And
from the right.
I think if you don't hit a winner, he will, pretty much. So you have to stay positive.
Game to Mr. Ashour, 11-7.
Well, that's the first game. First game for Ramy Ashour, 11-7. It was not a super long game, still only 9 minutes long, but fast-paced and exciting game. Yeah,
great squash. I actually noticed James just taking a little look at the scoreboard there, I think, to check how long the game was. I'm not sure why he was doing that, but yeah, it's an amazing game of squash. Just so many great winners. Just two world-class players.
So we're looking here at a graph analysis of how the points went during the first game, and you'll see that it was very back and forth at the start. They met again at 6-all, and then after that, Ramy ran off 4 straight points to get to 10-6. Then James came back, won 1 point, and then Ramy won out the game 11-7. So if we have a few more games like this where it goes back and forth, the match could go be a nice seesaw for a little while.
Yeah, I think James is going to have to come out hard now. He can't afford to go too low down because if Ramy can relax and start letting his shots go even more, it's going to be very difficult for him. So he's going to have to come out strong and really put a big effort in to make sure he gets this game.
So now we're looking at the current world rankings as of this month, January, and Ramy, you can see, is number 2 in the world, and Jonathan just said a few minutes ago maybe playing the best squash of anybody in the world right now. Is that what you think?
Well, I mean Shabana, you can't argue with Shabana as number 1 at the moment. He just he won 4 tournaments back to back, 4 big tournaments, albeit with Ramy being injured. But yeah, I think Shabana is definitely the number 1, and Ramy's not far behind. I think had he not been injured, it could have been he could have been close to getting to number 1. But yeah, definitely Shabana still for the moment, I think.
When we're looking at this, we're looking at their rankings, and you can see that James, for the last number of years, has been really very highly ranked and maintaining for the last few years. Being one of the top players in the world. And Ramy, as everybody knows, has had this sort of meteoric rise, although I think even as a junior people saw him coming.
Yeah, I actually saw him play when he must have been, 8 or 9 years old, and I was still a junior as well. And I remember seeing him then and thinking he was going to be a great player. So I think a lot of people have known about him for a while, and he had a knee operation as a junior, and then came back and won the World Juniors as a 16-year-old, which is amazing.
And that ball he hit between his legs. He was standing very wide-legged, and he hit the forehand volley almost sort of between his legs there. Okay, you said that James had to start fast here in order to stay in the match, so let's see if he can win a few points here.
I think maybe Ramy knew that's what he was going to do, and I think Ramy's stepped it up even more at the moment. And
that shot, his volleys into the neck are really something spectacular to watch.
Yeah, I've not ever seen a player hit as many nicks. There's another one. There's nothing you can do when someone does that. It wasn't that bad a shot from James, and Ramy's just flattened it straight out the neck.
James was even pretty close to the ball, but when it just rolls out like that, there's nothing much you can do.
And out. 1-3.
Well, can I just say that this match here on PSA Live is the biggest match ever. The most audience watching live at the moment, which is fantastic for this tournament and fantastic for squash.
That's great to know, Omar, and we want to make sure all of you who are watching are enjoying this. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is Will Carlin. I'm here with Jonathan Kemp, and we're in the middle of a very good match. The first game was very nip and tuck, 11-7 for Ramy Ashour, and we're at 3-2 in the second game.
That's a great cross-court drop from James. He's done well. Ramy started off really well in this game, and James he's come back well.
And out. 4-3.
You can't jinx him like that, Jonathan.
Yeah, sorry. The pace has definitely stepped up in this rally now, but I think both players see the significance of these next few points.
And out. 4-all.
Yeah, you saw James playing much more in front of Ramy on that point.
That's that racket head speed there of Ramy. I mean, that's to be able to hit the ball that hard from such a short backswing is, I mean, that's an amazing skill to have.
So when you're talking racket head speed, you're talking about a short backswing and being able to generate a lot of power. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, just the speed that he gets through the impact with the ball. I mean, you can kind of see that his racket just moves through the air faster.
Down. And out. 5-all.
And the advantage of that is what? Both power and quickness?
Yeah, I guess deception as well. Because the quicker you get through the ball, the harder it is for your opponent to tell where the ball's going to go. And Ramy's is so quick that it's almost impossible.
Well, Ramy's shot making is sort of almost peerless. Is he also very deceptive, or do all of his shots just find the nick so that it's...
No, it's very, very deceptive. You feel like you have to take an extra fraction of a second just to kind of wait and see where the ball goes, whereas normally you can kind of, I mean, a lot of squash is anticipation, and he kind of takes some of that away from you, because you just have to wait and see where the ball's going to go.
So James has gotten a 2-point lead here now.
Yeah, Ramy's made a few errors. I think maybe he's still remembering those three nicks from the start of the game, and he's trying to recreate that rather than sticking to the basics. We'll see if James can capitalise on this lead now. Well, it was about the same point in the first game after 12 points that they had a long point just like that one that made the difference for Ramy. Ramy again has won the 13th point of the game, and we'll see if... that's a fantastic shot.
8-6.
You can see how hard James is breathing as he returns serve. I think that's all the reasons that you've been talking about, John, is both needing to be prepared for any shot and the quickness with which Ramy is playing as well.
I think also because Ramy hits so low as well a lot of the time, it's a lot further for James to get down to the ball. So I think that probably makes it a little bit harder for him. These are a big couple of points now for James here. He can't afford to make any more errors.
does seem as though James is trying to mix the pace up, both by hitting some lobs and then by hitting some hard and fast shots. Do you think that's a conscious strategy that he's trying to play with right now?
Yeah, I think both players now have realised the significance of this rally, and they're really trying to make sure they don't make any errors. And
that's too bad.
That's unfortunate. It was a great rally.
8-all.
So that brings us to 8-all in the second game. Ramy, as most of you know, has won the first. This is a crucial time in the match right now.
That's a great shot from James. At a big time to pull out a shot like that, it shows a lot of mental strength.
9-8.
Yeah, that's what you mentioned at the very start of the match, that it would be important for James not to back down, to play his game and to go for the shots. It seems like he's actually done that well so far in the first game and a half.
Yeah. I mean, he's not giving Ramy an inch. It's just been, flat out, attacking squash.
Sure. And out.
Well, here we are, 9-all, 11-point game. This is where champions are made. Wow.
So a little bit of luck there for James.
Seems like a rather innocent cross-court, but it just finds the nick and squibs out.
But sometimes a match can turn on a small piece of luck like that. So see what happens.
Score you may have just seen, it's 10-9 for James, now 10-all.
10-all.
So we're into overtime here.
Played to win by 2 clear points.
James thought that ball might have clipped the top of the tin. He's appealed, but to no avail. So there we see the career tie breaks records of each of the two players. So Ramy is 3 out of 12. He's only won 25% of tiebreakers in the second game. And Willstrop has won 82%.
I mean, that shows there the mental strength of James. I mean, 88%. That's very impressive.
You could see from the way James hung on the glass there at the end of that point, nothing more depressing than to see the ball just die out and not be able to do anything about it in the back corner.
12-11 game ball.
There it is, dying in the back corner. $12-11.
That's a fantastic way to end the game there. Two great shots. One great retrieval by James, and then the second one just rolled.
I'm going to see that last point again here. You'll see Ramy actually go for almost the exact same shot twice in a row to win the game. It's a backhand cross-court nick once and twice to almost the exact same spot, despite a great get by James on the first one. So Ramy's now won the first 2 games, both extremely well played by both players, but Is this too much for James to overcome now, being down 2-0? Is this too tall an order, John?
No, definitely not. I think it's. Coming back from 2-0 down is very hard, especially against a player of Ramy's quality. But it's still, James is still more than capable of coming back. As you've seen, both games have been tight. Great squash. So there's no reason why you can't still win this.
So if you were James now and you're playing the number 2 player in the world in between games and look at that game, you can see it just back and forth the whole way. Never more than 2-point spread, and most of the time it was just 1 point all the way through. So if you were James now down 2-0, you're playing the number 2 player in the world, you've played your heart out, and he's taken the first 2 games, what do you tell yourself?
I think you just got to keep going. He could have easily won that game. They could be sitting there at 1-1 now, and you'd be saying, "Okay, you played well. Keep doing it." So I think he's just got to keep playing the same way, and hopefully he'll manage to sneak at least the next game.
As we're looking at recent winners of this tournament, you'll see a number of years there's something about New York that brings out the shot makers, because you can see a 3-year period in a row where Jonathan Power won the tournament. He got to the finals in 2001 and lost to Peter Nicol, and then won it again the next year. There's something about the environment here and the court that seems to bring out the best in shot makers.
Well, I think quite possibly. I think also you're just getting these days the shot players are a bit more on the ascendancy. There's a lot more, I think, following on from Shabana, really. Everyone's sort of, I guess everyone tries to emulate the best player in the world, and at the moment that's Shabana, and he's a fantastic shot player. So I guess everybody's trying to copy that. So we're getting a lot more of that come through.
And speaking of that, a lot of the players in the top 32 or so are Egyptians, and would you classify most of them as gifted shot makers as well? Is that an Egyptian style? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think traditionally the Egyptians have always been great shot players. I think it's just the way their coaching style, the way they're brought up, is sort of a free-flowing attacking game, and there's a lot, and there's a lot more coming through as well. I think we're going to see quite possibly Egypt dominating squash in the near future.
This is pretty unbelievable. I looked as though Ramy was almost saying that he thought James might have gotten it, but it didn't seem that James was calling it down on himself, I believe. Nice sportsmanship between the 2 players, though.
I think that's something that's is great to see. Is that there's been maybe 2 decisions for the referee to make the whole match. So there's been no lets, and it's just great fair squash from both players.
It's a great point. There's been very few lets, and the 2 stroke calls that came in the first game were just obvious stroke calls. Really, nothing much to them. So
I think there's very much a sense of fair play on the circuit among the guys, and everybody tries to make the game as clean as possible. Because I think it makes it so much better to watch when it's just free-flowing rallies.
Well, James hasn't let him get away. If he had lost that 3rd point, it might have been a tall order here. But at 1-2, he's still in this game.
Slut. 1-2 from the right.
And you see there, Ramy's almost a little bit apologetic for having to ask for something. They both want it to play as much as possible.
Now, are these 2 friends or just more of acquaintances?
I don't know, to be honest. You have to ask them that one. I think everybody gets on well.
Wow.
I think Ramy's still there. He's still a young guy on the tour, but very much liked by everybody. He's a great character. And that's another great rally.
Ramy seemed to want to say something to the referee at the end of it, but I wasn't sure what he was talking about there. We're at 2-all. Third game. Ramy Ashour has won the first two. We understand this is being the most watched PSA Live event, and I would like to welcome you all and thank you for your watching. It's been a very good match so far. This is Will Carlin with Jonathan Kemp.
3-2.
Well, Jonathan, this is a good start for James in the third game after losing the first two.
Right,
It's sometimes hard to keep a positive attitude, but it seems like he's doing it.
From the right.
Yeah, well, he was a little unlucky to lose a second. That could have easily gone either way, and he's mentally kept his focus, and I think he still really wants to win this. So he's not going to. He's certainly not going to buckle. He's going to keep pushing, and he's got every chance of pulling this back.
Stroke to Ashour.
Well, that's a tricky call.
And now it's 3-all.
That's one where a lot of people talk about people hooking the racket around him. What did you think of that, John?
Yeah, I think maybe the ball was a little bit far forward there to be a stroke, but it's a tough call to make. The ball came very fast, so I think you could call that either way.
That's a bunch of unbelievable gets there.
It's another fantastic rally. The pace these two guys are playing at is just phenomenal.
5-3.
How hard is it when somebody makes gets like that against you to maintain your composure and remember to not make a mistake at the end there?
It's very difficult because, I mean, Ramy's a very quick player, and when somebody keeps getting your best shots back, it can be quite demoralising. But James is experienced enough to expect that, and he certainly doesn't let it get to him. And you see now he's taken a 6-3 lead in this game.
That's a 4-point lead he's got now. That's the biggest lead that James has had throughout the match at any point.
That's a great shot. I'd love to know how many kills he's hit from there today. I can remember at least 5 or 6 dead rollers.
Well, he really likes that forehand going into the forehand corner, hitting for a sort of hard low neck. He hits that shot consistently and unbelievably well.
And out.
We're seeing possibly the first lapse of concentration from Ramy now. He's made a couple of errors and given James a great chance now to get back into this match.
This is another long point here.
It's another big rally. If Ramy wants to get back into this game, he has to win this, really. I think he knows that.
Seems like both of them realize the import, even with a 4-point lead. This is a make or break point.
It's a great drop shot to finish out. Fantastic rally.
Now, with both of them having placed such import on that shot,
5-8.
is it something here where James has to fight to make sure a streak doesn't happen, and Ramy wants a streak to happen?
Obviously, that's
6-8.
yeah. I think James has to make sure he doesn't give anything away. But again, he has to stay positive. If he becomes negative and just starts hitting to the back, then Ramy's just going to pick off the opportunities. It's a fantastic counter drop there.
I think James is saying he doesn't think Ramy got it.
All pickles are good. 7-8.
The referees confirmed that.
7-8 right.
Say the pickup was good.
That's what you
I wasn't asking about the pickup, I asked about on the wall. The ball was down and hit the tin. Can't remember the shot.
Balls are good. Balls are good.
So I stated that incorrectly. I thought, as did the referee, that James was appealing a double bounce, but actually he thought the ball hit the tin. But the referees didn't see that way. And so here we are at 7-8 with Ramy having won the last 3 points in a row after James held an 8-4 lead.
It's a great shot.
I think James actually thought the point might have been over there, but at least he finished it regardless.
9-7.
The Grand Central crowd is starting to get into it, urging they want to see more squash.
Yeah, I think they want to see 2 more games. Oh, that's a great shot. Who wouldn't want to see 2 more games of this?
Ramy has been zoned in on that backhand cross-court nick all night. He ended the second game with 2 of those in a row and the same point to win the second game.
This is another massive point now. 10-8 or 9-all is a big difference. So I think we'll see both players put an extra effort into this rally. I've seen a couple of great fakes from James.
It's a pretty huge point to be doing those kind of fakes and then to have it end in a let. There have been very few lets in this match, as John, you were saying earlier, but
8-9 from the right.
James, I think, really was hoping to take one of those 2 points where he did his double fake there.
Stroke to Ashour. 9-all.
It's a stroke call. It's a tough call, but it's probably the right call at that point. That brings it even at 9-all. Ramy is up 2 games to love, so we're either near a turning point in the match where it becomes 2-1, or we're near the end of the match.
Oh, that's a great shot. See, Ramy just never lets up. It's just always attacking. It doesn't matter what point of the game it is. If the ball's there, he's going to take it on.
10-9, match ball.
So this is the first match ball. The crowd really urging James on because they want to see more squash. Well, Ramy Ashour is the 2008 Tournament of Champions champion. He just gave a little fist clench before he opened the door there. Did you notice that, John?
Yeah. Oh, it was a great match. I'm sure he's relieved to have won that 3-love, because that could have so easily turned into a long,
Once again, we will
tough
have
battle.
A chance to formally
Had James managed to sneak one of those
James
games.
and Ramy for their championship results here, and also for the outstanding match you just witnessed. But we do want to quickly have a word with Ramy, our new champion, who has just won his first Bear Stearns Tournament of Champions. Congratulations, Ramy. Ramy, come on next to me. You played a near perfect first 2 games. How did you feel you played in those first 2 games, and was there a difference between that and this tight one in the third?
Well, I think I was, since the beginning of the tournament, I was really confident in myself because of my injury and haven't played tournaments for a while. But today I decided to go on court and give it all and try to feel confident, try to give myself confidence from the first point to the last, and play every shot as if it's the last point. So that's what I tried to do, and it worked. And I think the first 2 games were really a really high-paced game. And it was such a quality squash. And the third was really good as well. I think Willstrop, James, he pushed me really hard in the third. It could have been anyone, but yeah, I'm lucky things went my way. So yeah, I'm glad.
As a champion now of the 2008 event, your name will hang on our championship banners in the Grand Concourse next year, so you will be memorialized and commemorated there for all time. What's it like for you to play in New York City?
Especially at this part. When I first see teams here, and I saw these names on the wall in the Grand Center, I was really amazed, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. I want to be like them. I want to have my name up in the Grand Center. It's such a great thing. So yeah, that was one of the things I was thinking about when I was playing. So yeah, I'm really glad. The TOC is such a great tournament. It's such a very spectacular venue as well. And I hope the people enjoyed it as we did.
Well, I think you've definitely earned this and earned a whole cadre of loyal fans. It's great that you came through the tournament. You have been injured in the fall of the end of the year. You certainly seem fit and healthy now.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm happy. I just have to get back home quickly to keep on rehabilitating my leg and keep on doing the rehabilitation process. And hopefully it'll be better, and I'll be better and more confident in the next tournaments.
Congratulations. We'll call you back on in a moment.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now it's our opportunity to honor all of the athletes who performed for us so well in this great week of squash here in the 2008 Bear Stearns Tournament of Champions. Let me ask our official party to step onto the court now. Once again, our tournament director, the man really behind the whole operation, Mr. John Nimick. Let me ask the senior managing director of Bear Stearns, Mason Reese, to join us on the court. Mason? The chairman of the board of directors of the PSA, Jack Herrick. Jack, will you step on? Here's Jack. John?
Don, thank you. 2008 marks our 11th year as Grand Central Terminal's only sporting event. I hope we have a fabulous next decade. I also hope we have that partnership for the future with Bear Stearns. For the last 5 years, they have been our lead sponsor. It's been a wonderful partnership. They have truly made this event grow, become even more prestigious than it had up until that point. It is a pleasure to work with them and to represent Bear Stearns in New York for this tournament week. And I would like to thank Mason Reese on behalf of the Tournament of Champions Event Engine for your sponsorship. Thank you.
You are most welcome. It's a pleasure and an honor for me to be here and for me to represent Bear Stearns here with a great game of squash. I'd like to thank all of you because, frankly, the tournament's been a terrific tournament all week. Natalie Granger said it best. It's been the hottest ticket in town. It gets better every year, and I can't thank you enough. And I also have to turn it right back to John. It's your baby. I have to thank you for this. This is a great opportunity for us, but it's all because of you. So thank you very much.
You know, I don't think, let me give you a quick report on squash in the world. It is zooming upwards. And I know a lot of you like to talk about financial results. We're up 28% in the last year. But to tell you what that is all about, I can't think of a better example than John Nimick and the Tournament of Champions and the city of New York. This is where it's at. As you know, I'm an American, but I'm proud to say that you set the curve, and it can be seen by the spectator interest, the knowledge in the game, and everything else. And I just think it should be recognized again that John Nimick has created this property and is doing everything with it. And with Bear Stearns, I can't think of a better team.
And it's nice to have an American back in the top 50, isn't it?
Yes, it is, very much.
Before I just return the microphone to Don to recognize our finalist and our champion, I'd like to recognize two other people who have made this tournament smooth for all concerned, the players, the fans, the spectators, and management. Please welcome to the court our head referee and our attending world referee, Mike Riley and John Massarella.
And these two gentlemen, of course, represent the entire core of excellent referees that we've had help us with the tournament this year. So very quickly now, ladies and gentlemen, let's take this moment to once again say thanks, congratulate for a great play throughout the week, and in our championship match, our finalist, James Willstrop.
Oh yeah, just obviously Ramy's going to say a few words, but just quickly, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming. Fantastic tournament. We everybody involved in sponsoring and running this event, absolute high praise, because it's a fantastic week we have here. It's the most spectacular venue that we play at, and it's an absolute honour to play in front of such a big and fantastic and happy and enthusiastic crowd. And it really is a pleasure for us. So we always have a fantastic week. So much appreciation to everyone, sponsors, organisers, thanks. And just a couple of personal things from my point of view. Just want to make a shout out to the England performance programme and the people who help us back home and sponsor us and give us money. And David Pearson's here, the national coach, and he's been with me all week. And just the support and the funding that they give us is greatly appreciated. And not often recognised, so that's appreciated. I just want to shout out to everyone at Pontefract back home. They're an amazing club, and I know that they've stayed up to watch me tonight. And I hope I certainly gave it all I could. And Ramy was far too good, but thanks to them and my dad and everybody at Pontefract for all their support, and Damon as well. Damon and Deborah and Oliver are here, and they've come to watch, and their helps. Damon's had a big impact into my life as an athlete, so thanks to them for coming as well. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Ladies and gentlemen, our champion, the hot young player in the world, Ramy Ashour. Here he is, the champion. Now, Ramy had a chance to talk to you a bit when he was being interviewed by John Nimick. But Ramy, you might want to address a couple more words to our audience.
Yeah, first of all, I'm really glad that I won this tournament. It's my first time ever to win the Tournament of Champions. Such a great thing for me. And second, I really want to thank you all for being here and watching us tonight. I think it was great. We really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it as we did. And I think James just played the perfect game today. It was a really high-paced game, but I think I was lucky to win. I think I did well. Yeah, there's a couple of people I want to thank. First of all, my brother who has been supporting me since the beginning of the tournament. I really want to get... Yeah, and all my colleagues, all the Egyptians, all my friends, who played at this tournament. And I want to thank John Nimick as well for raising up this tournament and, put it in this great venue. I want to thank all the organizers who helped in this tournament. And finally, I just want to thank you all. And hope to see you again next year. Thanks.
Thank you, Ramy. Congratulations again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, photographs. And while they're doing that, just let me say to you, we've had a great week of squash this year once again. John Nimick, the innovator, brought us the Mayor's Cup College Challenge. I hope you saw some of that on Sunday. We had 2 great matches with our Women's Challenge event tonight. Just superb squash throughout the evening, and we promise you more of the same next year. So please put it in your calendars now. About this time next year, the 2009 Bear Stearns Tournament of Champions. Meanwhile, thank you, everybody. Safe home.
Okay, well, as the photographers scramble for a picture of Ramy Ashour, the winner here of the Toronto Champions 2008, I'd like to thank Will Carling for joining me on commentary. Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Omar. It's always a pleasure to do this. You do a great job with PSA Live, and I know fans all over the world are extremely happy you're doing this, and thank you for letting me join in the fun.
Very welcome. Also, thank you to Jonathan Kemp, who joined us for the first time here on commentary. And I'd like to remind everybody of what's coming up here on PSALive.tv. Next, we're at the Case Swedish Open. Join Adrian from the 6th to the 10th of February. Then on to the National Squash Championships in England from the 12th to the 18th of February, still to be confirmed. And then we're delighted to say we've been invited to the Virginia Squash Championships here in the USA from the 25th of February to the 1st of March. And then we'll be at the Canary Wharf Squash Classic from the 10th to the 14th of March. As we see Ramy Ashour with his trophy. I'd like to thank you once again for joining us here on PSALive.tv. Big thank you to Simon Williams, who's been here helping me out. Thanks to everybody for watching. My name is Omar Kandili. See you again very soon on PSALive.tv. Goodbye for now.